Hey everyone, it's JoJo here, and welcome to a video at long last. I'd like to make a real quick apology for just my absence on YouTube. Now that school's out, I'm hoping to make some more content relatively like recently, not recently, that's you get like put out content like regularly. There we go. This video is even late from when I originally intended to post it by a couple of days, but oh well. Anyway, this is my first proper anime video. I mean, I technically made one like at least a year ago, but like I don't really count it. But it is on a similar topic, if not technically speaking the exact same topic. Sorry about that cut there, but back to what I was saying. In anime, there are three things that can really put a series ahead in my mind. Characters. Story / world building, because I mean, like, those two go hand in hand. I kind of count them in the same. Most importantly for me, power systems. At least in action battle shonen, which is like, I think out of all the anime I've watched, only two of them don't really count as battle shonen. So, yeah. Anyway, power systems. If you have a really good power system in your anime series, then, well, at least in my opinion, the fights can become a lot more complex. Even though this is not speaking from personal experience, and I'm not trying to trash the fans of this series when I say this, my understanding, Dragon Ball's power system honestly isn't that complex. Boils down to who has the stronger attacks. While in most of the shows I watched, they have good power systems to a point where it more so boils down to who has the better strategy and who can employ, I guess that word works, their powers better in the situation and not just relying on what the power is. JoJo has stands one of my all-time favorite power systems, just like the anime itself. It's probably in my top 3 of power systems, and thus I decided to talk about it, since JoJo, even outside of just being one of my favorite anime, is one that holds a special place in my heart, since it was the first anime that really got me into watching it, and thus finally enjoying a medium that I'd wanted to for years outside of... I watched Yu-Gi-Oh! As a kid. Anyway, now on to the criteria. I am only looking at stands. Hamon is kind of boring, not in general, but compared to stands, it's just not as interesting to talk about. And I'll only be looking at stands from parts 3 to 5. Nothing against the stands from parts 6, 7, and 8. It's just I haven't read those parts yet. And we haven't gotten anything on the Stone Ocean anime outside of it's been announced yet. So for that reason, we're only looking at stands from parts 3 to 5. Now, I like to make this clear right off the bat. When looking at the stand, I am only looking at its design and powers, really. And, of course, how it's used in battles. That can be a huge factor into why I enjoy it. This is not looking at the stand users. if I wanted to make a video like that, then I'd just make a top 10 JoJo characters list, which I probably will make at some point in the future. Anyway, that's all. And I hope you guys enjoyed the countdown, so let's get started. Now, odd thing about Part 5. Honestly, don't like Part 5 that much. I can understand some people really like Part 5 are going to be angry at me, especially since it's one of the most popular parts, at least from my understanding, that people consider their favorite, but I don't know, it doesn't do a lot for me. I mean, on normal viewing, I still really like it, but when I put Part 5 under a critical microscope, it kind of just falls apart to me. But that's neither here nor there, as that's not the topic of this video, since Part 5 actually has my second favorite stand roster. I really like a lot of these guys. And starting off, we have Guido Mista's, I really hope I'm pronouncing that name right, stand Sex Pistols. Sex Pistols is a colony stand. A stand that is not just one being, but multiple beings. Typically multiple smaller beings. Sex Pistols, as well, 6 bullets in a revolver, effectively. Their power is to, essentially, when Mista uses a bullet in his revolver, he can have Sex Pistols redirect them. Which, funny enough, in most fights leads to him getting shot with his own shots. Yeah. Kind of funny when you think about it, but it seems like a pretty basic power on the surface, so why do I like the stand so much? Well, as stands are pretty much the embodiment of the user, I like one detail. Despite the fact that there are 6 of them, as in Sex Pistols, meaning 6, there isn't a 4th one, because Mista hates the number 4. For reasons. And they have kind of my personality in that they don't really get along all the time. Sometimes they're mean to each other, but when they want to help out Mista in fights, they do get along relatively well. This is at the bottom of the list, so don't have too much to talk about it, but like, pretty good stands. Next up is the stand of Rohan Kishibe from Part 4, Heaven's Door. Without this list, you will see my Part 4 bias shine through, because not only is it my favorite part, but half of the list are stands from Part 4. I swear it's unintentional. Alright, back at it, care some, but back to Heaven's Door. Heaven's Door essentially allows the user to write whatever they want on, well, whoever they want. Now, normally this sounds like a weird power, but it's actually pretty broken. Because, one, I figure I should point out why it makes sense for Rohan. He's a mangaka. For those of you who don't know what mangaka means, since you're too Western, manga artist. Anyway, because he can write whatever he wants on people, but they have to obey what that says. So, for example, if you were to write on someone, I cannot attack Rohan Kishibe, then they just can't fight Rohan. They'll command their stand or just try to fight him, but due to Heaven's Door, it'll be useless. I also really like how the design of Heaven's Door is Rohan's manga character, like the presumed antagonist of his manga series. Also, Rohan's cool and all, whatever. Rohan's so cool. He got his own OVA or just spin-off. I don't know if it's a light novel or manga. I want to go with light novel. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Which you can watch the OVA, or is it an OVA series or just OVA? I can't tell. Once again, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. On Netflix, even though I haven't watched it yet, it's probably good, so I highly recommend it. Heaven's Door is just a cool stand. The only reason it's at number 9, though, is because I feel it's a little too broken. It's really cool, but I prefer much more balanced stands. But that's just me personally. And coming after Heaven's Door is, well, another part 4 stand. One of the weirdest stands in the series. Superfly. I honestly don't know what it's called. It's like a metal thing where, believe electrical lines are connected to. I don't know. Once again, this is not a case of correct me in the comments because I don't have general knowledge. Apologize. It's weird because here's its power. You can't leave it. The sand user, it's more of a curse than a stand when you really think about it because, well, kinda just crap there until someone else walks in and then you can make a dashing escape. The only reason it's really here is the sheer absurdity, and because it's not really broken, I played over Heaven's Door. I know that sounds dumb to a lot of major JoJo fans who say, oh, you're wrong. And honestly, I kind of agree to an extent, but I just love the absurdity of Superfly that I had to put it on the list somewhere. Coming at the number 7 spot is yet another Part 4 stand. Which, this was actually almost a tie. I was thinking of putting Harvest here at first because, well, I actually like Shigechi a lot more than most people, but then, and I thought it was a cool idea for a stand. However, I ultimately decided I wanted to put Bad Company on the list. Mainly because I really like the army motif for nostalgic reasons, but we'll get into that when we get into it. Anyway, Bad Company is essentially a colony stand of your own little toy army. Which, when I was first watching Part 4, I thought of Toy Story, which is one of my favorite... Okay, I'll watch that not now. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Essentially your own toy army. It reminded me of Toy Story, which is one of my favorite movies as a kid. So, yeah, that had a bit of nostalgicness. I don't know if that's a word, but I'm going to use it anyway. That made me like Bad Company, but Bad Company is not just a toy army. Since they have actual guns and their tanks fire, like, missiles, it's just that they're small. And their stand users, Keicho Nijimura, who's a bit of a minor villain. I didn't even mention stand user Superfly since that didn't really matter to me, but whatever. Anyway, that's kind of just why I like Bad Company, I really do like the idea of colony stands because I don't know. I guess like the idea of strength in numbers. However, since Bad Company only really appears once, I don't have too much to add. Now, coming in at number 6, I totally remembered that, is Gold Experience. Our first protagonist stand, but not the only one. Now, what does Gold Experience do? Well, first off, it is obviously the protagonist of Part 5 stand. Yeah, no, the stand of Part 5's protagonist, Giorno. I really wish someone else got it because it's really cool and Giorno is a really bland character to me, but that's neither here nor there. That's for another video if I do ever decide to discuss Part 5 as a whole. Anyway, Gold Experience. I do like the design a lot. I don't know why, it just speaks to me. I like the yellow and orange. I love the purple. I'm assuming that those are like ladybug shells. That's at least what they look like to me. Overall, I really like the design. Its power is really cool. It has the ability to give life to an animate object, in case something that's not alive. Well, yeah. Turn them into plants. He can turn them into animals, whether that be like bugs, fish, birds, whatever. He can turn them into it. It's really cool. Plus, a hit from Gold Experience is it actually supercharges you with so much life. It really makes you feel like you're going super fast, but in reality, your your soul is so supercharged that it's left your body and you can't move your body. There's a lot of stuff to love about Gold Experience. I'm not going to Requiem because I wasn't a super big fan of Requiem, and honestly, I view them as their own stands. Even though Gold Experience Requiem, despite kinda being a Deus Ex Machina, is kinda cool. There isn't much to add at this point. I really like Gold Experience. It's just cool, man. I love them. Now, going straight from the protagonist stand, we're going to Part 5's villain stand, and my personal favorite main villain stand, since I'm not looking at the list right now as I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure that this is the last, like, it's the only major villain stand. I can't quite remember off the top of my head without looking at the list if I still have any minor villain stands that I've yet to talk about. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it in this video. King Crimson. Really cool looking. Like, I know I gushed about Gold Experience this time, but it just looks cool. It's not the most intimidating main villain stand. I'd probably give that to Killer Queen. But it's still really cool looking, and its power is, just as Araki likes to do, at least for parts 3 through 5, give the main villain a time-based power. At least at some point. Dio can stop time. Kira can make time rewind. At least when he gets the Bite the Dust power. And Diavolo can skip time. Now, I'm not an expert on how time works, and I'm not entirely sure how King Crimson works 100%. Not saying he's super confusing, just that I don't quite remember. From my understanding, it's similar to Time Stop, but like he sees what his opponent is about to do, but he can't interact with them. Just that he can like dodge it. I could be entirely wrong on this. So once again, if I'm not asking to be yelled at, just to be corrected if I'm wrong. Saying that on the video makes me think I kind of picked a different topic, but let's not talk about that. Let's keep talking about King Crimson. Got really cool power. It's a really intimidating stand, which works for antagonists. I like the colors. No kind of repeating myself at this point, but I love it. It's really cool. And here comes the only Joe. No, not the only Joe Bro. I thought for a second it was the only Joe Bro stand on this list, but no, it's not. The stand of Okuyasu Nijimura. The Hand. Or as he likes to call it, the Honda. I guess like how he says in the sub. I'm sorry, you guys. I'll shut up now. Anyway, the Hand is very freaking cool. I love the color scheme. Considering Okuyasu is, I could be getting this wrong, but I'm pretty sure like his name means something in like billions of money, so the Hand has money signs on it. And it just looks really cool. I love how the blue and the white and the gold just mesh together. It's really cool looking. And its power is awesome. Has the ability to just erase space with a swipe of its hand. It can just... So once again, for example, let's say you and your like couple feet apart. I could use the Hondo to race the space and make it come close to me. This implies that objects... However, I know it's in the top 5, so... And I said back in Heaven's Door that I don't really like overpowered stands. That's part of why I didn't decide to put too many villain stands on this list, because while they're really cool, I'm just not the biggest fan of overpowered stands. Or just broken stands. Okuyasu's ability is pretty broken, and yeah, that's true. However, I do believe it's offset quite a bit by the fact that Okuyasu is a frickin' idiot. He could end so many fights easily if he used the Hand correctly, but he doesn't. So even though it is, technically speaking, a bit missed potential, it doesn't really offset all the good things I have to say about the stand. Now, you guys may have noticed that there hasn't been a lot of Part 3 stands on this list. And there's a very simple reason for that. I feel that a lot of Part 3 stands are kind of simple and not that super interesting compared to what we get in Parts 4 and 5. Has easily my least favorite stand roster. There are ones I liked and ones I considered putting on the list, but considering the one stand from Part 3 that made the list is in the top 3, I really like the Hanged Man. Now, I don't hear a lot of people talk about the Hanged Man. And I can understand that. It was the stand of Jay Guile, who, well, was a big part of Polnareff's character, and one of even people who aren't huge fans of Part 3 say that they love Polnareff's development as a character. I don't hear too many people talk about Jay Guile Stan, the Hanged Man. And again, I do kind of get that, since once again, a very minor antagonist. but I really like him because of its ability. Zion is kind of eh. However, its ability just, I love it. It can attack from reflective surfaces. So it can attack from mirrors, like balls, any glass really as well. So it's just a really cool ability. And it can be used to play a lot of mind games since the stand is almost invincible until you find the user. I just really like that idea. I think that Hanged Man was a really cool idea for a stand, and I just really wish they could have seen more of it because, again, it's really cool. It's in my top 3. Now, this was really hard for me because, as some of you may know, Josuke Higashitaga from Part 4 is one of my is honestly my favorite fictional character of all time. However, I said I wouldn't let my bias get in the way, so unfortunately, Crazy Diamond has to kill at spot number 2. I love this stand. It's amazing. I just love the idea of it. It's got diamonds all over. That's cool. It's got hearts. It's got pink muscle-looking skin. It's just really cool. Its ability is pretty cool too. Josuke, it's just a. I'm trying to say multiple things at one time, so let's go one thing. Obviously, this is Josuke's stand from Part 4. There we go. Got really cool design. You already heard all of that. However, its ability is what really sets it off in the mind. It's what really sets it apart from the other Part 4 stands, which I really love. Its ability is repair/healing. Can repair, like, say, the brick wall is smashed. It can repair that. Say you got a paper cut. It can heal that. But the one thing I really like about it is it's the protagonist stand. If someone in fiction, really, not just anime or manga, has a healing ability, you expect it to be someone in the supporting cast. But no, the main character is the healer of the show, and it even has amazing combat applications. Because Josuke can, like, fire a shard of a window or something. Say it misses, not missed. Well, both can work, but whatever. He can use Crazy Diamond's ability to repair that, send it flying back as an attack. There's just so much I love about this stand. And I really wish I could have put it at number 1, but unfortunately, one just so happened to beat it out. And coming at the number 1 spot is Bruno Bucciarati's stand, Sticky Fingers. I love Sticky Fingers. That's probably going to be taken out of context, but I do not care. It's such a cool idea for a stand. First, I want to go on about how funny I find its English localization name that they had to use in, like, the dub and subtitles. I just find it hilarious. Zipper Man. I don't know why. I guess I find the name, like, hilarious. I don't even know why. Zipper Man. Okay, in all seriousness, I like the design. Obviously, it has a zipper-based ability. That is so quirky, though. Like, once again, like I keep saying with these designs, it honestly reminds me of the Hand-in design. I think I slightly prefer the Hands design, but but this one does a really good mesh of white and blue, just like Zahando. But its ability is what sets it apart. It can open, essentially, portals to different places, but instead of portals, they're zippers. Bruno can put them anywhere on his own body. He can open them on walls, obviously, on his own body, stuff like that. He can also, when he does a rush beatdown on someone, he can literally use the zipper power to dismantle them, and he can even detach his own limbs for a long-ranged attack. And considering how prevalent Bruno is, I fell in love with Sticky Fingers so early on in Part 5. There isn't too much to say. I love JoJo and I love all 10 of these stands. I think this power system is a lot of why I love this series. Anyway, that was my first proper anime video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you have an amazing day. Take care. And I'll see you guys for whatever my next video happens to be.